Hello, Sim. This is my feedback to your summary from last week. Okay, so let's start. In the video, what are the differences? Okay, good to include the title, name of speaker. Argues that, very good. Although innovations have different characteristics, people still confuse these terms. It is true that the lecture kind of shows that they are confusing, but then the students kind of got it at the end. And then here, although innovations and inventions have different characteristics, people still confuse why are these two juxtaposed? Why is there an although here? I mean, okay, they may have different characteristics, but why is it opposed to people still see when you say although here, the two ideas are opposed to one another. Innovations and inventions have different characteristics, that's one idea, and people still confuse them, that's another idea. But why are they opposed? You see, it doesn't, I'm not very sure why those two are put like that. So I think you can just simply say, I know this video is very strange to summarize because really there is no main idea, there is no supporting ideas, it's just one idea, and it is innovation and invention are two different things, and this is what one is and this is what the other one is. That's the whole lecture basically. So I can understand you're trying to force yourself to write the main idea in an argumentative form, which is very good. That's exactly what we need to do. But in this case, it's purely descriptive. So let's see what kind of an argument we can make out of that. So the lecture is basically you're showing pictures and saying, okay, this is an innovation, this is an invention. The difference between the two is one has to do with the creation of an idea or a product. The other one has to do with marketing that product. The minute you market it and make it well available on the market, then it becomes an innovation. And that's really the whole lecture. So I would say argues that you could say that there are crucial differences in some of the characteristics of inventions and innovations or something like that, but it's going to sound very strange. So maybe to simplify it, you can just say argues that it is important to understand the differences between the difference between innovations and inventions or something like that. Yeah, because I guess what I'm trying to say is with this although here, it's a good sentence structure, but that's not really logical, right? Because they're not really opposed. So maybe you want to simplify this here, because really the video is, in terms of the ideas, it's very simple. It's basically this is an invention, this is an innovation. So we can say argues that there are some crucial differences between innovations and inventions, something like that, right? Or argues that it is important. You could say this argues that it is important to know the difference between invention and innovation. Okay, that could be a kind of an argument. So you want to rephrase that. But overall, very good attempt to force this into an argumentative sentence. That's exactly what we need to do. Now the exam video is not going to be like this one. The argument will be much more pronounced, much more easy to write about. So this was just pure description. At the beginning of the lecture, the speaker gives a brief definition. Okay, is a new device, method, or process developed on the basis of research experiments. Okay. Then he introduces that. Sure. Then that introduces that is not really a correct structure here. Maybe you want to say introduces the concept of innovation by explaining that it is, and then becomes very wordy. Then he states that, right? you usually introduce something. You don't introduce that something. You see what I mean? So some reporting verbs are followed by that, states that, argues that, claims that, asserts that. Others are simply followed by the object, introduces the concept of, right? Is a transformation of the invention into a new product or device. Okay, very nice. So here basically that really is the gist of the lecture. Okay, very good. You've summarized it well. Moreover, according to the lecture, there is a way to distinguish, and this is, you just need to know that innovations can be easily found in mass markets. Yeah, fine. That's the crucial distinction, right? So here, if we said in the beginning, he argues that there are some crucial distinctions between inventions and innovations, then it's supported by this, right? So actually it kind of nicely fits. To distinguish and this and for this, yeah, I'm not just sure about, it sounds a little bit like spoken language, and for this you just need to know. A little bit informal, right? Like you're speaking rather than writing in academic English. So a little informal, this one. So I'm gonna rephrase it. But the idea is very good. The supporting idea is exactly that. However, innovations have several specific details. Okay, first, innovation is a social and economic phenomenon at the same time. Second, there is only one innovative product. Other identical are imitations. Yeah, okay, he does mention that actually. Very nice. Actually, kind of went deep here. Very interesting. The only thing I would note is here, comma, other just doesn't work. It's a comma splice. So you want to use a conjunction or something to connect. But the comma doesn't really combine two independent clauses like that. That's what we call comma splice. So maybe you can say while all the rest, all other identical copies are imitations or something like that, right? Other what? So you need also you need something here. A noun, right? Only the prototype is the invention, the innovative product, while all other all other copies are imitations or something like that. I guess that is an important idea actually. Third, technological and scientific progress cannot guarantee the economic success. Okay, very nice. That's a good one too. Last but not least, the impact of innovation cannot be predicted. Excellent. And that's the way he ended. In fact, the whole idea of the pen was exactly that. At first it was kind of insignificant, but look what an impact it made. In conclusion, innovation is based on innovation. However, not all are transformed. Okay, fine. Very good. You've really done a very good job of focusing on the idea. Stay away from the examples. It's actually a very good summary. You did what you could under the circumstances. The video for the exam is not going to be like that at all. It'll be much more clear. So, but I just wanted you to force yourself to just to practice what we expect even when the video is totally descriptive, because it's important to keep practicing that, and I think you've done a really good job here. So technological cannot guarantee. Okay, very nice. Yeah, you could, that's another device. In conclusion, last but not least, why not? That's a good also cohesive device for the final sentence. Last but not least, in conclusion, every innovation, yeah, I think that was actually the last idea he ended with, was that here you could use although if you want to. In conclusion, the speaker mentions that, or states, or the speaker concludes by saying, or whatever, even though or although some innovations may seem insignificant at first, their impact might be enormous or something like that. And in fact, that's the pen, right? This little thing which he pulled out of his pocket, he gave that as an example of something that you wouldn't think at first. Nobody thought it was a serious thing. It was kind of like a very insignificant little innovation, but the impact of it, I mean the invention, but once it became an innovation, it had this enormous impact. And you're right to say it cannot be predicted. That's the final thought he ended with, right? So you want to make that the concluding sentence, right? Okay, overall very good job. So excellent, and the writing is good as well. So I hope this is helpful. Keep up the good work. You're doing very well, Asim.